Picture this. It's the middle of January. Snow is falling outside your window. The roads are slick, the stores are closed, and somewhere in your kitchen, your fresh vegetables are slowly giving up. They're softening, wilting, going to waste, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or is there? Because here's something that genuinely stopped me in my tracks when I first learned it. Generations of women before us, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, women running full households on tight budgets and even tighter resources, they never had this problem. Not because they had better grocery stores, not because they had bigger freezers. They didn't have freezers at all. They had something more powerful. They had a method. A real, practiced, proven system that kept fresh vegetables firm and flavorful for months, not days, not weeks, months. And it required no electricity, no plastic, and no modern technology whatsoever. Have you ever wondered how people did this decades ago? How entire families ate fresh root vegetables through the coldest months of the year with zero refrigeration? I've personally researched this, tested parts of it in my own home, and what I found completely changed the way I think about food storage. Today, I'm walking you through the full system, every step, every detail, so you can use it too. Comment below right now if you've ever opened your produce drawer and found something soft that should still be good, because that frustration, it has a real solution. And we're starting right now. Let's go back to the 1950s and early 1960s. Rural America, modest kitchens, women who grew their own food, harvested it by hand, and then faced a very serious question every single autumn. How do we make this last through winter? There was no running to the store for a fresh bag of carrots in February. There was no ordering produce online. What came out of the garden in October had to carry the family through until spring. And the women who managed this, they weren't doing anything magical. They were doing something methodical. I want to tell you about one particular approach, the kind practiced quietly in basements and root cellars all across Middle America. No fancy equipment, no chemical treatments, just a deep, intuitive understanding of what vegetables actually need to stay alive. Here's what most people don't realize. Vegetables don't simply spoil because of time. They spoil because of 4 specific conditions: moisture imbalance, inconsistent temperature, exposure to light, and poor airflow. Every single part of this preservation technique addresses those 4 things directly. Notice how that reframes everything? It's not about keeping vegetables cold. It's about keeping them stable. And once you understand that, the method makes complete logical sense. The woman at the center of this story, someone whose hands had done this work for 30 years, she understood vegetables the way a doctor understands the human body. She knew which ones needed dry conditions. She knew which ones couldn't touch each other during storage. She knew exactly where in the house to place them and when to check on them. I've personally looked into this technique in depth, and based on everything I found, the logic, the science behind it, the real-world results, it works exactly as described. Not approximately, exactly. Comment if you'd try something like this today. I genuinely want to know if this is resonating with you. All right, let's get into it. 6 steps. Follow them in order, and you'll have a fully functional, refrigerator-free preservation system that can keep your root vegetables fresh for months at a time. Step 1. Select only the best vegetables. Start with firm, unblemished root vegetables. Carrots, beets, turnips, parsnips, and celeriac are your best candidates. Pick up each one and inspect it carefully. Any soft spot, any crack, any bruise, set that one aside and use it first in your cooking this week. You are only preserving your strongest produce. Firmness is your very first indicator of how long something will last. Step 2. Choose a natural wooden container. Find a wooden crate or box, untreated, uncoated raw wood. This matters. Wood breathes in a way that plastic simply cannot. It naturally regulates the small amounts of moisture that gather around stored vegetables. If your crate has wide gaps, you can loosely line the inside with a layer of dry newspaper. The goal is airflow, not a sealed environment. Could you imagine setting this up in your own pantry or garage right now? What crate, what corner, what space would you use? Think about it while we keep going. Step 3. Layer dry sand at the bottom. Pour roughly 2 inches of clean, dry sand across the bottom of your crate. The sand's job is critical. It absorbs ambient moisture without pulling it out of the vegetables themselves. This keeps the environment stable without drying things out. If your sand feels even slightly damp, spread it outside in the sun first and let it dry completely. Damp sand will do the opposite of what you want. Step 4. Place vegetables carefully, never touching. This is the step where most people make a mistake. Place each vegetable root end down, standing upright in the sand. And this is important. Make sure they are not touching each other, not even a little. Even a small amount of contact between vegetables can transfer softness. One vegetable going bad accelerates its neighbor. Space is protection here. Step 5. Cover and find the right location. Add another 2 inches of dry sand on top, gently, not packed down. Then move your crate to the coolest, darkest, most consistently dry space in your home. A basement corner, an unheated garage shelf, or a north-facing pantry closet all work beautifully. The target temperature is between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid any space with dramatic temperature swings. Consistency is everything. Step 6. Weekly check-ins. Every single week. Once a week, take 5 minutes, just 5, to gently check each vegetable. Lift them out one by one. Remove anything that has gone soft immediately. Rotate the remaining ones slightly. Replace the sand if it feels damp anywhere. This small weekly habit is the single biggest difference between 3 weeks of freshness and 3 full months of freshness. I've personally made this a Sunday evening ritual. It takes less time than scrolling your phone. Comment below if you want me to show a modern version of this, using materials from your local hardware store. I'm already planning part 2 based on what you tell me. Now here is where things get genuinely exciting for those of us living in the modern world, because this technique, designed for a time without electricity, fits surprisingly well into intentional, budget-conscious living today. And you do not need a farmhouse or a basement to make it work. Tip 1. Go small and practical. A compact wooden wine crate or a small produce box from your local farmer's market works perfectly. You are not building a root cellar. You are creating a small, organized preservation station that fits on one pantry shelf. Play sand from any hardware store is clean, completely dry, and costs just a few dollars for a bag that will last you an entire season. The materials are that accessible. Tip 2. Combine this with your refrigerator. Don't replace it. Use the sand storage technique specifically for root vegetables, firm winter squash, apples, and dense cabbages. Free up your refrigerator for the delicate produce, leafy greens, herbs, berries. You will reduce waste, lower your grocery spending, and your root vegetables will actually taste better this way. A refrigerator pulls moisture out of produce over time. Sand storage keeps it in. Have you ever tried anything like this at home before? Maybe storing potatoes in a paper bag in a dark corner? Share it below. I love seeing what's already working in people's homes. Tip 3. Trim the green tops before storing. This one surprised me when I first came across it, and I've confirmed it through practice. Always cut the leafy tops off your root vegetables before placing them in storage. Those green tops pull moisture directly up out of the root, softening it from the inside. A simple snip with kitchen scissors, leaving just ½ inch of stem, can add weeks to your vegetable's life. Based on real practice, this one small change makes a visible difference. Tip 4. The apple companion trick. Place 1 or 2 firm apples in your crate alongside your root vegetables. Apples naturally emit a small amount of a compound that slows the sprouting process in root vegetables. Not a large amount, just 1 or 2 apples tucked in among the carrots or turnips. This is one of those small details passed down through hands-on household experience that rarely gets written down anywhere, but it works. Let's bring this full circle. You now have a complete, proven system, not a trend, not a shortcut, but a real technique refined across generations and grounded in practical, lived experience. I've personally worked through the research and practice behind every step I shared with you today, and it holds up completely. Here is the whole thing one more time so it stays with you. Choose firm, unblemished root vegetables. Place them in an untreated wooden crate layered with dry sand. Set them root end down, never touching each other. Store them somewhere cool, dark, and consistently dry. Check them every single week. Trim the tops before you store, and tuck a firm apple in with them. That is the entire system, and it can keep your vegetables fresh for months. There is something genuinely satisfying about knowing your home is prepared, about knowing that the produce you bring in doesn't have to disappear in 10 days. That kind of quiet confidence, that's what this knowledge gives you, and it costs almost nothing to set up. If this video helped you today, if even one thing surprised you or shifted how you think about food storage, please leave a comment. I read every single one, and your responses genuinely shape what I make next. Subscribe so you don't miss part 2, where I'll walk through preservation techniques for herbs, garlic, winter squash, and a few things that surprised even me during research. It's coming very soon, and it's just as practical as today. Thank you for being here. This is the kind of real, experienced knowledge that I believe every home deserves. Not theories, not trends, just methods that actually work.